Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Well, it's a dirty job, but it will pay off next spring.
Yes, planting bulbs now will bring beautiful buds in 6 months or so. Joining us live to show us the best way to do so is Garden Guide Dale Kay. Good morning, Dale. A little bit of work now will definitely pay off.
Yeah, good morning. I don't know about the dirty work so much. You know, you can always wear gloves, I guess, but there is something quite blissful about being out in the garden. The weather is absolutely beautiful and very, very peaceful. But once the annuals come out, it's a little bit bland. So already thinking ahead to spring, as you mentioned, planting bulbs. And it's really a great thing to do. It's actually a great thing to do with the kids. It's almost like the ultimate game of hide and seek, and kids absolutely love seeing bulbs emerge in the spring. Now there are two different types of families of bulbs, I guess. The ones that we plant now in the fall, and then the warm season bulbs like gladiolas, elephant ears, all those guys that you'd plant actually more in March, and they're the warm season ones that bloom in the summer. These bulbs actually need that dormancy or that cold period to bloom, and they do really like moist soil. So we'll talk about a little bit about soil as well here in a minute. But what kind of varieties are getting planted right now? Well, of course, you got your big three, right? You got your tulips, your daffodils, and hyacinths. They are really proven to perform in this neck of the woods. It does get quite cold and ground does freeze really, really hard here. So those ones are really, really spectacular when we talk about re-emerging again in the spring. And with tulips in particular, literally hundreds and hundreds of varieties. If you go to your favorite local garden shop, you'll find them all on display right now. Some other ones that are quite popular, daffodils, I mentioned those in the big three. Very good because they're actually deer resistant, which is quite beneficial and great for naturalizing around trees, maybe back in if you've got some woods behind you. Perfect for that, perfect for some spring pops of color. And the good thing about both tulips and daffodils, they also make great cut flowers as well, so you can kind of bring them in for some pops of color indoors in the spring. Alliums, the giant alliums in particular, very popular. These are a little bit more June blooming than early in the spring. And then also you got your kind of your fillers, the crocus and the muscari, all those fun guys as well. What I like to do is pick them in bulk. That way I can get to touch and feel them. I don't like planting anything that's moldy or squishy. Sometimes in a pre-package, you may end up with a little bit of that, but if your pre-package is your option, I always kind of feel the bulbs in there and just make sure they're kind of all good to go. You want to make sure they're nice and firm. From there, there's really not too much to it to planting bulbs, just some techniques, if you will. The other thing I should mention too, really quickly, they're as cheap as chips. If you're looking for masses of color that's inexpensive, bulbs certainly do that for you too. They're just literally pennies each. The techniques themselves is planting. Of course, you have the bulb there itself. As far as the depth of hole, you want to make sure that it's about 3 times the size of the bulb. So a lot of the bulbs, daffodils in particular, about 6 inches depth. Tulips, you can get away with about 4 or 5 inches depth of hole. Then some sort of tool, I guess, to plant them. There's all these different types of bulb tools as well, even little augers that go on the end of your drill. That makes planting nice and easy. We'll just give that a spin. So that makes, just like a regular auger, makes planting rather easy. What I like to do is plant them in mass. You get your most bang for the buck as far as visual color. Oh, look at that. So nice the leaves are falling. Oh, that was so pretty. I dig a trench. That way I get, as I mentioned, the best bang for the buck. And I just lay them. If you take a peek in there, I kind of got them dovetailed in there, nice and tight, because I do want that mass of color. And then a little bit of bulb food. The great thing about bulbs, I guess, is all the bulb itself is really just ready to go. All the nutrients are kind of packed in there. But I will add a little bit of blood and bone meal too. This is kind of dusty, so I'm just going to stand back. I'm just going to add that to my backfill. And what that will do, it will actually prevent squirrels from kind of digging through there and everything else digging up. And it also provides some fertilizer for once the bulbs get going. If you're going to do a lot of planting, or you can spend a lot of time on your knees, having like a little kneel pad that go on your knees, or just the pad itself, is really beneficial. And then from there, I'm just going to cover the dirt right back over the bulbs, and you just kind of lay in wait. Do pre-moisten the soil. It makes it a lot easier to dig. And then make sure you water again before the ground freezes, so they have some adequate moisture in the spring, because I mentioned they do need that kind of moist soil, that dormancy to rebloom in the spring. Talking about squirrels, I don't know if they're bad in your yard at home. By jingos, by crikey, they are like wreaking havoc here. So some tips for squirrels. Firstly, you can cover your beds with some poultry wire that will stop them digging in there. Also, a little technique is this Repelzol. It kind of deters all sorts of critters from digging in your garden. And finally, what you can do is maybe just it's almost like having little kids. You got to distract them a little bit, just sometimes like having like little ears of corn that go on this little chair. Oh, I hope I don't impale myself. Maybe just doing something like that that keeps the squirrels occupied, keeps them on this, and keeps them out of your garden beds. Perfect thing to do on a great day like today. Again, the perfect game of hide and seek. Back to you guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
look, I
I've
did it.
never seen anything like that. That's cool. Yeah, distract. Look at
I
this.
love
Look
that.
at this cool toy. Stay away from my flowers. All right, Dale. Thank you.